You are listening to Inspired Caring with Michelle Magner, episode number 129. Hello, welcome to Inspired Caring. I'm your host, Michelle Magner. If you are caring for an older family member, this is the podcast for you. Each week, I bring insight, tips, inspiration, and strategies to help you care for the people that you love without losing yourself along the way. Having cared for both of my grandmothers, I've helped manage everything from hospital stays, households full of belongings, to navigating senior living and end-of-life care. And I've worked in senior living as a result of that experience, serving my residents and their families as they've been on this journey too. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoy this episode of Inspired Caring. Hey y'all, hope you are doing well and enjoying all of the falliness of fall. I did put up the little garland thing on my mantle, and it's fun to have some twinkly lights in the house again. Yes, my mother comes in a couple weeks for Thanksgiving. Very excited about that. There's no we. She puts in a huge order at Whole Foods to have groceries delivered, and we set up like a whole shelf in my office, a whole different shelving unit to put all of the canned goods and dry goods on, and it just works out super slick. That's my husband's problem-solving process management genius. Very much appreciate that. He also likes to eat yummy food, so it works out well for him to help us facilitate that. It's a win-win. I've been thinking a lot about friendships, and it's been very interesting lately to be reflective about my own friendships. And I have been to a lot of networking events in the last couple of months, and I recognize a lot of people. We see each other all the time, and it feels really good in a certain way. And I also, as I think many women do, or people do, desire a little bit more meat, a little more that deeper connection with people. And this is something that I'm hearing from a lot of ladies, over the last couple of weeks, actually, even people very specifically have been saying they feel like their friend groups have just dissolved or imploded. Like people that they have hung out or moved away. I don't know. The circles of people that they had deep connections with seem to be evaporating. So I've just been thinking about this a lot lately. And what does it mean? And what do we do about that? I know that it's a really important topic because especially for us as family caregivers, care partners, it's very easy for our world to shrink because we feel like people don't understand what we're going through, or we think, oh, people don't want to hear about this all the time or talk about it. And it's epidemic levels. Loneliness are at epidemic levels. So it is important for us to maintain and have strong connections with other people. My daughter ran her first half marathon in her college town, and I was moved to tears because we could not be there physically with her to cheer her on for this big race. Moved to tears that 3 of her friends showed up at the finish line to yell her name and celebrate her and cheer her on. And we were obviously texting her beforehand, but it was just so sweet. Here it is like 9:30 on a Sunday, and these are college kids. And they got up to meet her at the finish line. And I kept thinking, they're finish line friends. They're her finish line friends. Which is, that's just such a fun play on words. And who are my finish line friends? Not just the people who would show up to do something like that, but these next 5-6 decades. I'm 51. I don't know what's going to happen with medicine and science over the next 10 to 30 years, who are my finish line friends? Like, who am I doing life with in this home stretch? We were sitting at the kitchen table, the dinner table with our son Logan, talking about friend groups. And I asked him, do you like our friend group, Logan? And he didn't miss a beat. And we all kind of laughed because he said, yeah, Mom, I like your friend. Your one friend. Oh my gosh. And we did laugh, but inside I took pause and I felt a little sad because I had these tighter knit local groups of friends, and over time things have just changed a lot. So I've been thinking about this, and I'll tell you, the stages of our life are definitely coming into play in a way that I had never understood before, because many people I know are entering or are in this empty nest phase. And then I do have some other friends who have little children, and it does make a difference in our availability and our accessibility. And things take extra effort, or a lot of effort, depending on what's being pitched. I mean, even like a 30-minute phone call can feel kind of hard, especially if it's going to evolve into potentially a 2-hour phone call. But dinners out, weekends away, all of these things just are a little bit more complex based on what stage of our life we are in. And I'm watching my empty nester friends, and they're going out on a Tuesday. They are just not worried about it. And I'm okay with the phase that I'm in. It's just an observation that is not exactly where I'm at. Now, don't get me wrong. I do go out on a Tuesday. I'm just also taking into account like my son and his work schedule, and my husband, his travel schedule, things like that. And when our kids were little, we had neighbors that it was just very easy to hang out with them, and we really enjoyed our neighbors. And so geography and this timestamp of where we were in our lives at that point, we were generally doing the same stuff with little kids. And over time, people moved away. Some people went to work full time. Some got divorced. And then just eventually, like the neighborhood bunco group, lunchy groups, lunch bunch, I don't know what we called ourselves, the Bible studies, all of those things seem to fade out. And I own my part. I definitely own my part, because calendar management is for sure a factor. And I work full time, and I do have a lot of networking things during the times of day when maybe you would get together with a friend at lunch or late afternoon, early evening. So calendar management is a big deal. I strive to protect my time with my husband and our kids. I'm also getting better at protecting unscheduled time because I need to regroup. And so the calendar management, that doesn't necessarily leave a lot of hours in the day to nurture, develop different relationships. Obviously, I changed my relationship with alcohol 6 years ago. And so that has, I believe, been a pretty significant factor in our relationships, because a lot of times what we would do is just get together in the afternoon for happy hour. And then maybe it would evolve throughout the evening. Husbands would come home, join us. We'd have dinner. It was a little chaotic and fun, but that definitely changing my relationship with alcohol. I think I've attracted more people to me who are also non-drinkers or not really drinkers. And then the people who continue to drink in the way that we used to in our 30s and much of our 40s, we just don't hang out with them as much anymore. I just feel like so many women around me lately are feeling like their friend groups have imploded or dissolved. And even people who have been friends for a long time, Maybe they're just not friends anymore for a variety of reasons. But women are craving friendships that they find nourishing, connecting, and real. And I know that COVID didn't help. And I think it's time to stop blaming COVID. I have done my fair share of blaming COVID as to why I did not do things. I was also working in a nursing home at the time for 2 of those years. So it was very intense. And I really genuinely did not feel like I could hang out with people in the way that I had in the past. So, I mean, there's some impact there for certain. But going forward, I get to decide who I'm hanging out with and how I'm managing my time. So I've been thinking about this. Maybe maybe we're just more in tune with who we are and what we want. Maybe that is what is impacting our friendships. Maybe we're more dialed in to our values, what's important to us. And I'll tell you, one of the beautiful things about getting older is you are just less tolerant of shenanigans and reindeer games. You're just not interested in putting up with someone else's stuff. Now, I mean, if it's your bestest friend and they're going through something, you're hanging in there with them. But all of the other stuff that is surface level, just like talking about other people, I'm just not that interested in it. And talking about what other people are doing, that's not very interesting to me. I love hearing about other people's children and what they're up to. And I want to know what you're up to. Like, what do you got going on? What are you doing? What's exciting you? What's brewing in your life? Like, what's on your heart lately? What's coming up for you? Because I think it's so easy just to devolve the conversation into what other adults are or are not doing, or just talking about our kids. And I think for us to have a deeper connection, it's important to have more meaningful conversations. I personally have realized that I have a little bit higher level of social anxiety that I just don't think I've had in the past, or maybe I was numbing it with the wine. It made it easy. I'm not in full menopause. I'm certainly in perimenopause. So maybe that is an aspect of that biological phenomenon. It's not a phenomenon, right? We've been going through menopause our whole existence, but I'm just feeling very protective of my energy, because I've noticed that when I'm stepping into some of the larger groups, it's a little bit harder for me to work my way around a room. And I have a few close friends. I have a few close friends in town, people that I would consider close friends. And then I have a handful of people that are not in town, but I know I can count on them. And I know that if it really hit the fan or came down to it, people would help me in any way that they could, they were able to. So I've just been paying closer attention to, where do I feel like my best self? I feel like I've been doing a little bit of sleepwalking, kind of bumbling around in different places with different groups. And I really want to get more fine-tuned on, where do I feel like my best self, and with whom do I feel nurtured? What do I enjoy doing? And who can I do more of that stuff with? And where are those spaces? And who are those women who enjoy doing those things too? So I have an early morning workout group, and I adore these ladies. And every time we work out together, I leave feeling amazing. And obviously we've just had a killer workout or a gentle workout, but it's just, I love it because I wrote a blog post about this, that feeling that you get on a race day, like everybody's just in it for each other. You're all cheering each other on. I feel that way with this group so deeply in my soul every time we are together. And there are places I can expand having time with them because they also do community service. They just hang out and they do bigger fitness events together. And so far, I haven't engaged in many of those things, but I'm interested in expanding my time with them because of how I feel when I'm with them. So think about that for yourself. Like, where are those places when after you leave, you don't feel so depleted, you actually have some energy? Where are those places for you? I have a local women's mastermind group that I recently joined. And when I share time and space with these ladies, I feel so activated and just charged up and alive and full of ideas and goals. And they are also a safe place to land. So we can be vulnerable there. And hold each other accountable. That is just a really great space. I love being in community with them. I also participate in another self-development mastermind. These people are all over the country. They are super next level. It's a really big room. I had really massive imposter syndrome after we all introduced ourselves on that first day, and it took me like 3 weeks to get over it. These are international keynote speakers, authors. Many of them have done TEDx's. They're like managing 7-figure companies. At the end of the day, what I've realized is we are all just folks trying to get stuff done. And because of that, I have opened up to this next level of connection with them that I wouldn't have had otherwise if I would have just kept my guard up because I didn't feel like I was good enough to hang out with them. And we've been able to share space together a couple of times at retreats. And it's really amazing to have those opportunities because I think it's creating some deeper level connections and friendships. I have intentionally been also attending some women's self-care boot camps, self-care events. So look around in your area to figure out like what would you enjoy doing with other women and where are these people? what are they doing? Or when are they doing it? Because you already know what you enjoy doing. So I am just a really big fan of regulating my nervous system and taking care of myself. And self-care is really important. It's something that I preach, and it's something that I do. And hanging out with women who are also interested in not running themselves ragged to keep up with the rat race of the patriarchy, that's a place I want to hang out in. Just celebrating divine feminine energy and nurturing ourselves. Those are my people. I love that so much. Life is hella messy, y'all. And I'm just open to the idea that there is opportunity for more meaningful conversations and connections with people, and that I have to own my part and responsibility for making that happen. I am open to the idea that this is just an interesting chapter in our phase of our life. We have lost a lot of family members over the last year. Both of my husband's parents have passed away. We are grieving. We are recovering. We are launching children into the world. So there's just a lot that goes on in this phase of our life. So I'm open to the idea that this is temporary. I'm open to the idea that it is my responsibility to nurture the people that I love and the relationships that I want to foster. And to do that, I have to keep showing up. I am open to the idea that when it is said and done, that I have changed. I have changed. I have risen, elevated the vibration. So I have changed. Other people have changed. Maybe I'm not their cup of tea anymore either, and that is okay. So I just want to let you know that I see you and I love you, and you are doing a great job. Keep showing up for your friendships. Keep reflecting on what do you need and how can you participate in making those meaningful connections with other people, because in the end we really need each other. We really do. We are built and created to be in community with one another. I love you, and I hope you have a beautiful weekend. What I know for sure is that things are going fine until they're not. Everyone wants to stay in their home for as long as possible. And then there's a fall or a hospital stay or clear signs of dementia or a diagnosis, and remaining at home becomes questionable or potentially impossible. It is super important that you are informed about what assisted living and nursing home care can offer and understand how to choose the one that will best fit the needs of your family. I know from personal and professional experience what objections are going to come up and how to navigate those conversations. You love your family member and you are doing a great job. It just feels like the situation is fragile. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop and you don't know what you don't know. Illuminating Senior Living answers all of your questions and walks you through step by step each common objection and frequently asked question. This course will save you so much time and heartache. Imagine knowing exactly when it's time to move and ensuring the care and safety of your family member. Imagine knowing what specifically to be looking for in a care community and how to have the conversations about moving. Illuminating Senior Living gives you the roadmap so you're prepared. Click the link in the show notes, Illuminating Senior Living, to secure your video course today.